Gonna get things started. Welcome to Wednesday Evening Encore. Welcome to Wednesday Evening Encore. I am your host, Christopher D. Thomas. The room is loud, yet the ROI is quiet. So remember, we're talking about networking. We're just completing the Atlanta episode of Network and Chill. It's a live networking experience that is unlike none other. And we have some unique twists that are included within Network and Chill. And we completed, we're just finishing up this past Monday, just finishing up the Wednesday episode of Network and Chill. And thank you for everyone who are coming out. So we're going to be talking about networking. And because, I'm networking in the room with different people who are doing different things. And what ends up happening is I'm looking at this. I'm like, well, who are people really getting the understanding, how to really network, what networking is all about. So most networking isn't networking. It's I'm gonna call it uh, performing exhaustion in a room full of strangers. In a room full of strangers with coffee breath and with plastic name tags. That's what we're gonna call networking. What people are actually doing. So let me ask you something that's going to be strong enough to sting. I hope. How many rooms? How many rooms have you left with a stack of business cards with zero business? How many follow ups died in the inbox because they were so inspired, but not actually invited? How many times have you been seen, but not selected? Well, here's the truth that most won't say. You don't need more people. You need more placement. And even though anyone could use this particular information that I'm speaking about, any entrepreneur, we're going to focus this information on our woman-owned businesses and woman-owned brands. The woman who gets paid isn't the most social. She's the most strategically situated. And in this episode of Network, I'm talking about Network and Chill. That's how much I've been saying it. In this episode of Wednesday Evening Encore, I'm going to show you how to discover power circles, how to transform your presence, and to create your success right now. And we're going to do all of them and show you how to do it. Well, show you what to do, when to do, and what to expect without any forced talk or any chasing anyone. With this particular episode is going to help you to shift your mindset about true networking and moving forward in your networking endeavors. And this isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It isn't. It's about, being costly to ignore. I'm gonna repeat. It's not about being louder. It's about being costly to ignore. Welcome to Stop Networking, and we're going to start net worthing. Net worthing. You can breathe now. This is a place where you're going to be safe, and your ambition belongs right here where you are right now. So I want to share with you that you're not broken. You're not broken. You're mispositioned. Many of you have tried every get out there tactic when it comes to self-promoting and networking. You're at 3 events a week. You're buying coffee, so you got free coffees. You're doing free audits. You're giving away free advice, right? You're doing some collaboration calls that turn into free consultations. And by Friday, you're totally drained. And wrap around to Monday again, you feel like you're invisible all over again. Your effort is noble. However, your ecosystem is wrong. Your effort is absolutely noble, but your ecosystem is wrong. You're fishing in lakes that can't afford the bait. You're fishing in the lake that can't afford the bait. So this is where we're going to draw a mark, right? This is where you're going to draw the line in the sand. Stop measuring success by how many hands you shake. We want to start measuring success by how many rooms repeat your name when you're not there. Now, you're not here to be approachable. You're here to be inevitable. And when it comes to networking, remember, we're not networking anymore. We're doing what's called net worthing. Here's the problem. You were taught to network by volume. And I was taught the same code. Get to as many networking events you can get to. Collect as many contacts as you can. Attend as many events as you can. Just go everywhere. But here's the issue. Here's the problem. Volume without vetting builds visibility without volume. Volume without vetting builds visibility without value. And what does that cost? That's going to cost you time that you can't invoice. That's going to cost you confidence that quietly, erodes when great conversations don't become clients. That's going to cost you positioning that screams, I'm available, instead of I'm in demand. And there's a difference between screaming, I'm available versus I am in demand. Every week that you delay the shift, your next 5-figure relationship is going to pick someone else. Now, here's the solution. The solution is what I'm calling trading networking for net worthing. And worthing is WORTHING. Trade networking for net worthing. Now, Chris, you may ask, well, Chris, what is net worthing? Well, net worthing is what we're going to describe as designing a small compound circle where you have relationship that multiplies outcomes. Now, you go to a finance person, ask them about compounding interest, and see how their eyes get wide and they start smiling and they just light up because all finance people, all investors, all multi-millionaires and billionaires, people who understand money, understand about compounding interest, compounding the interest that you're being paid on your investment. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to compound those circles where you have your relationship are going to multiply the outcomes. You're going to increase your intros. You're going to increase your authority. You're going to increase your opportunities. You're going to increase the aligned revenue that you're going to have as a result of. And we're not just talking about collecting people. We're curating placement. And in this episode of episode of Wednesday Evening Encore, I'll map the what, the when, the why, the what to expect, all with no fluff, no pitch, no pressure, just clarity. Just clarity. Simple, focused, sane, and profitable. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, let's talk about what to do. I'm going to say adopt the ABCs of networking lens. Now, I say ABC meaning it's simple, not an ABC of an order. All right, meaning ABCD is just ABCs, meaning it's simple. The ABCs, what you need to know about networking. So, the A, we're going to talk about anchoring. Important of the ABC of networking is anchoring the relationship. Anchoring the relationship. Think of it as three people, three women whose credibility elevates yours by proximity. Being around individuals because that their credibility is going to help elevate by proximity. Now, the B, we're going to bridge the partners. Partner with peers, and both of you can give some complimentary offers. Bridge the partnership. You partner up with some peers that you can create some complimentary offers. And the C is a beacon asset. You're going to create a signature asset that travels without you. A signature asset. And majority of that is going to be something digital, an email, a one pager, a case study. So that you want to do that because the rooms can sell you when you're not even there. Now, we talked about what to do and the ABCs of net worthing. Now, when do you do that? You want to do that when your DMs feel busy, but your bank account doesn't. You're getting all these DMs, you're getting all these requests, and your bank account is not leveling out with all the DMs and the inquiries that you're receiving. You want to do that when you're invited everywhere and paid nowhere. You want to do that when you're ready to lead with, here's what we're building. Want in? Instead of, do you know anyone who needs? Now, why does that work? It works because the brain buys from familiar authorities that are entrusted or endorsed by trusted nobles. It's a psychological part that many people overlook when it comes to marketing and branding. It works because when you're curating circles that create social proof velocity, your name circulates along with it. Your price begins to stabilize, and you can stand a little bit taller. Your posture even gets straighter. You could do this. It also works because you escape what's called the approval economy, and you're going to enter what we're going to call the invitation economy. Now, when you do all that, we talked about, let me look back at my notes. We talked about what to do, the ABCs, when to do it, why it works, and that's the psychological part of why it works. Now, when you do all of that, what can you expect? You're going to be able to expect fewer phone calls, fewer, however, bigger outcomes. So you'll get fewer incoming, whether it's phone calls, emails, DMs, or whatever it is that you're banking on. Yet your outcomes are going to be bigger. You can expect better clients who arrive pre-sold, already sold before you even do the call to action. You can expect calm, clarity, and cleaner boundaries. You can also expect the delighted moment where all of us love to hear your name keeps coming up. I want to talk to you about a client we've been working with, and her name is, I remember about 2 years ago. Her name is Elena, and Elena is a wonderful, dynamic, based in the UK, a dynamic brand designer, uh, and very soft spoken, but a soft spoken genius. And she shared with me that she she followed all of the steps and recommendations people told her about networking. Going to as many networking events, meet as many people as you can, get as many business cards. It's about volume, 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 volume. In one in a short time period, actually within about 90 days, Elena shared with me that she went on 40 coffee chats, 40 coffee chats in 90 days. How many clients did she land out of that? Two. She landed two clients. Her exhaustion, it was through the roof. She was tired. Think about going on coffee chats, going on networking, still running your business, still increasing your brand. She was absolutely exalted. So what we did for her, we helped her to be able to, we rebuilt her approach. She anchored a relationship with a person who owned a PR company who loved her point of view. That was one. The second thing, she was able to connect with a chief marketing officer with another company. That marketing officer was serving her perfect clients. And the third thing she did was that she created what's called a beacon offer, a beacon call. It's something that's going to stimulate interest, talk about some of the things that you do, talk about maybe some case studies, some unique trends that are actually happening. And what we called her one pager, it was only a one page. It was called the 7-day visual sprint. And those went out before she even met anyone. Now, 3 coffees later, not the 40 she took before, 3 coffees later, after implementing, all of these things, one partner introduction turned into a retainer. One panel invite as a result of the networking turned into 2 premium clients. She was also invited to a podcast. And one DM as a result of being on that podcast became a $28,000 client across a 6-month time period. So across 6 months, she was able to attract one client who paid $28,000. And that was as a result of being on a podcast, and she received that DM, and that's how all that happened. Now, that was 3 coffees later. All of that resulted. There was no extra posting on social media. There was no extra overly pleasing, overly exerting herself. It was all about placement. She didn't get louder. She got located. Now, I'm going to give you 5 things to do that is going to help you to be able to, we're going to use these as expectations and posture versus, and not tactics. Now, there are 5 things. One thing You want to uh, replace effort with the equity, and how you do that are these five things. One, we're going to call it the room rules. Now, attend only, and that's important, that word only. Only attend the rooms where you can add leverage, not just energy. Now, why does that work? That works because your contribution creates status, and status is what converts. Number two, we're going to call it the ask ladder. Stop picking brains. Stop doing it. Start proposing what I'm going to suggest you to use. Start proposing co-created outcomes. So here's why it works. Brains become guarded. Outcomes are welcome. Brains are being guarded because when you're picking a brain, that means they're not getting anything out of it, only you, who's only the person doing the asking. That's draining. That's guarded. People have spent much revenue, much time, trial and error, failures, paid for. Just simply it all. A lot of resources that they would never perhaps ever get back, or still can see the scars from, as a result of the things that they now learn or the things that they now inject into their businesses. So stop using that term picking brains. That's only a one-win situation. Start proposing what we're going to call the co-created outcome, where both parties win. And remember, that works because brains are guarded, outcomes are welcome. Everyone loves an outcome, and especially if it's a win-win. And if it's a multiple win where, multiple people, groups, communities are all winning, that is what's key. The third thing is protect your intro like it's money. Protect your introduction like it's money. Make mutual wins explicit. Now, why does that work? Curators become kings, and your name earns interest. 4, create what, remember I shared with you before, creating a beacon, something that lets you know, hey, I'm coming, I'm here, this is what I do, like one of those beacon lights, giving attention. Create an asset, create a digital asset that you can send them, or they can download or request. Actually, you may well even want to send it to them before the meeting. Now, why does that work? It's because you're priming them. Priming produces preferential bias. And when they come, they're going to come in warm because they're going to have a really good idea about the value that you bring to the table, and how a cooperation, co-curated, co-created outcome can be in working with you. And the 5th is scarcity. Create some boundaries. Say some things like, I take I take on 2 partner projects per quarter. Now, why does that work? It creates constraints. Constraints imply that you're confident in what you do, and it also helps to protect your pricing. Now, the 5 things that you can do to inject posture into your particular brand is ruling the room, ask the ladder, your intro is currency, create a beacon before you even meet, and have scarcity, within your particular business, your particular brand. Now, we can even micro tag this to a certain extent. Think about things such as, I'm easiest to work with when building something that outlives the post. We're so these are the outcomes that you're looking to build with other folks, other partners. Now, believe me, with someone who's really worth partnering with, they're gonna understand a lot of these words that you're using, a lot of and they're gonna appreciate the respect that you bring with it as well. They know you're gonna be about business. So let's talk about more of a from a mentoring part and from a leadership part. You have carried rooms that will never carry you back. You've donated brilliance because you were taught to be nice, and you're done. Good. We're not saying not to be nice, but you've donated a lot of brilliance because you were taught to be nice. You're done. You've done that, and that's good. I'm not saying not to, but when we talked about scarcity, we talked about boundaries. There's some things that we need to, inject into your business, into your brand. You're not just a talent. You are the table. You don't need access because you are the access. And I help women to reposition themselves from being available to inevitable. A few weeks ago, we had a meeting with a client that moved from having $1,800 projects to $9,000 minimum projects in 60 days after we rebuilt her placement strategy. It was the same woman. She had this, but she had a new posture and she was entering into different rooms. So working with me, you know, isn't about deliverables. It's about stepping into the outcome that you've postponed. And we all know that inaction, inaction is a payment plan for life you don't want. So here are two simple steps I want you to take next. No pressure, just placement. I want you to go ahead and book in that complimentary one-on-one 15-minute brand blueprint session. You don't need a credit card for it. There's no commitment. Yet you're going to leave with what I call a personal brand blueprint, absolutely free. It's guaranteed. You'll gain, you're gain clarity. You'll be able to bridge. You'll be able to beacon. You'll have clean, light, calm relief. After you go through that one-on-one 15-minute brand blueprint session with me. The second thing, only when you're ready, I have what's called the personal brand audit checklist. That's going to help you give you some clarity really quick. Second, we have what's called the re+inVent transformation system for entrepreneurs. That's for deep recalibration. And then we also have what's called the brand power vault. It's that thing that's going to help you to be able to sell without you being around at all. Now, go ahead and book that free complimentary one-on-one 15-minute brand blueprint session. Like I said, there's no credit card, no commitment, but you'll also receive absolutely free. It's my gift to you, a personalized brand blueprint, absolutely free. Now, I keep in touch with uh, all of my clients. We do. and either text, email. All of them have my direct number and other team members' numbers as well. We keep our client bench small, and we do that intentionally. So if you're feeling that tug, you need to go ahead and move right now. Your name deserves to be circulated. So I want you to please follow, share, save, turn on notification. If this reframe something that you couldn't quite name, you need to go ahead and follow, share, save, and turn on notifications, because on this particular platform, we're really changing people's lives, and it's our way of supporting you. You could take all information and that I've been recording and absolutely change the trajectory of yourself, your business, your future, your legacy, your employees and vendors' legacy as well, by them being associated with you. Simply by going through and listening to and applying everything that I've been sharing with you on WinsDay Evening Encore. So next Wednesday, we're naming that episode the CE Morning Reboot. We're going to help you to rebuild your first 90 minutes so that your day prints momentum on command. Not hustle, just harmony with some teeth. Because, once you stop networking and you start net worthing, your mornings are going to become the command center, and all the chaos is going to be going away. Now, I want to share this with you. I want to say something with you. I am very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You're listening, you're tuning in, you're implementing. I'm very proud of you and the brands that you are creating, and being bold about your brilliance. Now, what I want you to do is to place yourself where the power pays you back. And the goal is to create your success right now. So let's create your success. All right. Thank you for tuning in to WinsDay Evening Encore. I'm your host, Christopher Thomas. Till next time, have a great one.